All right, welcome everyone. We are Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for ReZero Season 2, Episode 21. All right, we just had Roswaal get told off after hearing his backstory and
then
getting
squat out.
Getting a little bit of an understanding of what Ryuzu had to do in order to save everyone. But we didn't really fully understand everything that went on with regards to Roswaal. We had a little bit of a perspective on his situation with what he was doing with Echidna and everyone inside the sanctuary before it was fully formed even.
Yeah, there was still a lot of like magical hubbub and stuff, you know, being done and whatnot that, you know, we didn't necessarily fully understand.
The Hector guy came in and he was looking to just throw hands.
Yeah,
so
and he
we
did.
never saw how that resolved, though.
Oh, that's true.
So it's just something that is another mystery added to the world there. Had some people clarifying that the word that they used was a little bit funky. It's basically equivalent of him being a
male
warlock.
witch. Yeah, right.
So
a warlock.
instead of, a witch, he's,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Which is like, okay, there we go. That makes a lot more sense. And it's not like the powers of being a witch would be, tied to gender or anything like that. So
that's why it's also it's just a title. The warlock is just as fine. It's just a thing of where people throw titles onto things like that there.
Exactly.
But the bit that Subaru and Roswaal have is a bit of a clash of ideals where Roswaal very, I would say, convincingly brings up their similarities.
Yeah.
And yet Subaru doesn't need you then.
Right.
He doesn't really need you. So
Roswaal's
go out and do this myself.
Roswaal's alternate Subaru, but 400 years deep in the obsession.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And also not really having other people, I think, nearby to be able to get in to that whole dynamic between him and Echidna. So
because we know that Betty's kind of, shut herself away.
Right, because she's still grieving the loss of someone very close to her. And also had a book to keep her company.
Definitely.
In the meantime, which is now has some emotional context to it, which is rather sweet.
Yes.
But squad's heading out. So what comes next?
I don't know.
Without further ado, let's get into it.
Those look dope.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh hell yeah. Okay. Is this the butt slapping granny?
Yep.
やっぱりちょっと怒ってるけど、スバルって本当に私のこと好きなのかしら。バルスはエミリア様のことを誰よりも思っていますよ。ありがとう。本当にお強くなられたんですね。
Whoa, nice, yeah. Because she remembers. Oh, cool. Wow, okay.
Yeah, she faced it like it was nothing, basically.
願い事をするのに自分から誠意を示さないわけにはいかないからです。
お
願いです、エミリア様。どうか我が主、
Yeah.
ロズワール様をお救いください。エミリア様がルグニカの玉座に座られたとき、ロズワール様の願いは果たされます。
And he might find himself again.
思いの結実する日は訪れる。
To smash the way he looks at the world.
助けてあげて。ラムが私に何かをお願いするなんて初めてのことだもの。
Ram is super proud.
いいわ、ラム。
そろそろ私からも祝辞を述べさせていただいても構いませんか。
Hello.
そこまでよ。
私はこれでも本気であなたのことを心配しているのです。よくぞ試練を超えられた。あなたには無理だと私は思っていましたが。
素直にありがとうって言いづらいお祝い。
Yeah.
ただそれを分かっていてなお、スバル君は酷なことを迫る。
そんなことない。スバルは私に。
彼のことだ。どうせ理屈や道理など解かず、ただただあなたを叱咤激励しただけでし。
And is that a bad thing?
スバルとロズワールが同類？どういう意味？
恋しい女性に対して押し付けるということですよ。
But also not true.
スバルと一緒だ。
Yes.
そんな風に思う理由は。
Oh, I love it.
スバルね、私のこと。
Yeah, yeah.
女だって言ったもの。
何？
全部スバルの言う通りだった。スバルは私をちゃんと見てくれてる。 だからスバルとロズワールは全然同じじゃないわ。スバルが信じるって言ってくれた気持ちは嘘にならない。嘘にしない。
あなたもまた変わっていく。それが私には到底受け入れがたい。決断は尊く、歩もうとする意志は気高い。あなたが傷つくことを是とした決断さえもこの終わる世界ではすでに無意味だ。
終わる
正確には終わりに向かう世界でしょうか。
何を投げ出そうとしてるの？あなたと私が始めたことでしょ。それを途中でなんて、そんなこと絶対にダメよ。
あなたの口にする体現相互、果たしてどこまで実現可能なのか。
それは私がこれから証明する。
Watch me.
墓所で、聖域の外でもよ。
On to trial number 2.
私と先生だ。それだけは間違っていますよ。エミリア様。
I heard that.
思いのほか覚悟は極まっていたようだね。
ロズワール様はいつからラムとエミリア様の会話を？
That's a good question.
君が彼女に膝をつくところも見ていたよ。以前私の求むるところは変わらないよ。少し無理をする必要はできたがね。
ラムは
ここでエミリア様のお戻りを待つといい。けなげなあの方を出迎える者がいなくてはさすがの私も胸が痛むからね。君にはエミリア様を待てとそう命じたはずだが。
ええ、命じられました。魔女の申しより
Wait.
あなたを奪いに参りました。
You saw the idealized version of her as well.
ラムの目的のためとガーフのバカさを強制する2つの意味がありました。ラムなしであの連中はどうするつもりだったのやら。
最後の一勝負でスバル君も綱渡りな賭けを選ぶものだよ。
ですが間がいいことだけがバルスの取り柄ですから。
It's always just devilishly perfect.
最後の勝負と銘打った場でロズワール様が自ら動かれる局面であなたが何より頼りとする英知の書、それを手にしていないはずがない。
忘れたことはなかったよ。君と私の間に交わされたたった一つの制約を。そして鬼に願う者は鬼に、よりどころにしてそれに滅ぼされる。
Oh my god.
Okay.
その
Okay.
時が来たわけだ。
生かすも殺すもラム次第。
Oh.
君の王法はようやく果たされる。故郷を滅ぼした一員である男にしたくもない忠誠を誓って過ごさなければならなかったんだ。
Wow.
Oh shit.
い
Wow.
なくなった君が生きるのに必要だったとはいえ、これほどの苦痛はそうあるものじゃない。
Oh.
Oh man.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
聖域の核となり、友人のためにその身を捧げた尊い少女だ。天候を変えるほどのね。書の記述に従い、聖域に雪を降らせ
To bring the
そ
rabbit.
の魔法を使う
Yeah.
ためには絶大な集中と精緻なマナの扱いが必要になる。
あなたの望みは叶えさせない。誓願が成就し抜け殻になったあなたを差し
Yeah.
出されてからでは意味が
Okay.
ない。壊れたあなたを迎えてもこの
Right,
世に出されない。
それは強欲なことだ。
Agreed. Yes.
しかし今の君で私に勝てると、君は一体どうやって目的を遂げるのかな。
Oh boy.
ラ
Oh
ムに
no.
勝ち目がない。それは明らかです。ですから2対1なら
Oh wait. Oh, wait a minute. Right.
No.
君がスバル君たちの計画
Oh,
の最大
hold
の
on.
これか。
What? What up, bitch?
そして僕は通り過ぎ
Oh yeah, it's just me.
Okay.
望みのままに。
That's just going down.
Yeah. And
Oh,
the episode isn't
screen.
over.
でも
How does she remember?
レムさんがだってスバルなら絶対こうす。
Oh,
Probably
cool.
just because Subaru told her about Rem afterwards.
あら、
Yeah.
お嬢さんね。
Crap. Is this the door?
震えているの？大丈夫。きっ とあなたの腹渡はとても綺麗に違いないもの。
Alright, come on. Hey, yeah!
Yeah.
悪い子ですわね、ペトラ。お逃げなさいと言ったのに、後でお仕置きですわよ。
でも私、少し前にオートで死ぬような思いをしてから腕が上がっ
Yes, about
あ
that.
なたじゃ無理ね。
あなたを仕留めきれなかったその方を恨みたい気分ですわね。
Don't worry, you can do that in a minute. Yeah.
誰の依頼かは存じませんが、私とペトラが標的のようですわね。
精霊のお腹を開けたことがないから期待してるの。
Nice,
Okay.
nice.
趣味以上に意地が悪い。
Yeah, here it comes.
ベアトリス様なら何とかしてくれるかも。
Oh, is she the one opening all the doors? Oh.
レムさんが。スバル、助けてよ。
Oh.
分かったぜペトラ。
Wow, the timing.
Yeah, his timing is
Yeah.
perfect.
Uh-huh.
My God.
よかったペトラ。
Oh my God.
Yeah.
スバルなの。
She's like, this isn't a dream.
Yeah.
再会の場面にしちゃちょっと邪魔者が邪魔すぎる夜だけどな。
Yeah.
胸の下ばかり狙うのは一体何のこだわりですの。
強いて言えば趣味ね。お腹を開ける趣味なの。
大将の話。
He just blocks it with his abs.
防御って言葉。
Or maybe it was with the gauntlets, you know?
Oh, maybe, yeah, yeah.
最大の攻撃と最大の攻撃が一緒になった。
Alright.
最大二つで最強なんじゃねえか。そう思わねえがや姉貴。 でかー。
What?
これじゃあ兄貴って方がチキ。
You big bro.
会うなり失礼なことを言うんじゃありませんわ。ガーフ、大きくなりましたわね。
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet.
しか聞こえないな。姉貴の方がでかくなりすぎなんだよ。
それで、そろそろ私は再会のお邪魔をしてもいいのかしら。
Your music isn't playing now, Elsa. It's bad time.
Right, right.
好き見てそのレムって女を連れ出してくれ。
Okay.
まああいつの
Alright.
Let's go, Garf.
言いますの。
悪いな兄貴。後ろ気にしたまんまでやれほどぬるい相手し
Oh.
All right. All right. Let's go. Our fully realized barbarians. Like,
Yeah.
Come on, bitch. Let's go.
With magic items.
Uh-huh.
俺様が完膚なきまでにぶっ壊してやれ。
Alright. Reunion of roars. I like it. Oh.
どうして呼んでやった覚えはないのよ。
悪いがお呼びじゃなくても現れるのが俺って男だ。お前を連れ出すぜベアトリス。今度こそお前は俺の手でお皿の下に引きずり出されてそのドレスを泥だらけにして真っ黒になるまで遊ぶんだ。
Oh. Oh.
Okay.
This is awesome.
Okay.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it, Peter. You're doing it. Oh. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right.
So I think we can both agree
Yeah.
that Ram MVP.
Ram.
Like,
oh my
Holy
God.
shit.
Emilia too. Like
Yes,
oh my
Emilia too.
God,
Emilia was awesome.
I'm so
Oh my
impressed with
God.
just the general way in which this arc has been to develop the characters.
Mm-hmm.
They're just so much more interesting just across the board.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Also,
Oh.
I just want to say again, because I feel like I haven't said this enough this season.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the 30-minute episodes.
Oh, me
Like-
too.
Like the
oh
fact
my
that,
God.
like all the
Yes.
stuff with Emilia and Ram and everything, and then the eventual confrontation with Roswell.
Right.
That was basically a regular episode, right?
Yeah, and you could tell that they wouldn't have left all the dialogue in if this was a 23-minute episode. Like,
Sure.
that's where things would have been cut primarily.
Yeah. But we were able to get that, and then, but wait,
Yes.
there's more.
There's more.
And not just one thing more.
Right.
Like, we go to the
Right.
mansion. Cool. There's the stuff with Petra. Elsa's there, and it's like, well, shit. then, you know, she's saved, right, by Frederica, and then Garf and Frederica reunite, and it's like, this is wonderful, and then that could have been the end of the episode, but no. Then we get Subaru going into Betty's place. Hey, I'm gonna get you out of here, and then I'll play with you until your dress is black with mud. Okay.
I love it because there's so many people in this story. It'd be very easy to get like lost a bit in terms of like who wants what, where, and when, and
not everyone can get character focus kind of a thing because you know, share the screen time, and
it's an ensemble cast. There's a lot of characters that are just, you know, like having their motivations kind of lightly touched upon.
Yeah.
But with these 30-minute episodes, we just get everything, man. We just get everything. And it's so good.
And like with like Ram's confrontation with Roswaal, right? Like or Roswaal's confrontation with Emilia. Yeah, there were places there where I could see that the dialogue probably would have been trimmed down a bit if it were a shorter episode.
Right.
But that does not necessarily mean that dialogue isn't a benefit by being there.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there are, with moments like this, right, there are things that are implied by the dialogue where we kind of know the stakes of what's at hand, right?
Exactly.
Like the fact that when Ram goes to fight Roswaal, she can't beat him on her own, right? That just shouldn't be able to work that way, right?
Yeah.
But it's still important that it be said.
And if I'm like keeping track of all the details when he passes the jewel to Ram, I'm like, oh, right.
Well,
shit! I forgot about that!
And that was one of the things I was kind of wondering about, because there was the point where Puck was in Emilia's jewel, and then it broke.
Hey, that was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
That was a long while
and then
ago.
A long time ago. And yeah, and then it was established that then he was in Subaru's gem, right? Yep. So it's like, okay, yeah. So it's like, oh, you're going to fight the epic level Archmage, you know, wizard that is going to be souped up on ancient magic stuff and things like that.
Well, that's the thing. He might not draw upon it.
Right,
because he needs it to do his part for the Tome of Wisdom.
Right, that's what he's going to be using for the great magic, the ritual magic, the big scale.
The snow.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And that's a cool reveal that we get here is that, well, if there was any reason why snow would be, you know, falling over the sanctuary, magic was involved, right?
Right.
But I think at some point, I more or less just kind of guessed that it was maybe something tied to what was going on with Emilia in the trial.
Because she
brings, you know,
she brings the frost,
freeze, you know,
right,
and stuff. But no, this is
Roswaal's
part
to specifically attract the wascally wabbit,
the willy dangerous wabbit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I love as just the idea of like, hey, no. It's not going to be some massive beast, you know, again, but I'm going to draw the swarm. But we do have a massive beast on our side, and his pucking name is Puck. So
you're about to get pucked. Yeah, exactly.
Get pucked. And I love that Ram was even talking about the whole idea of, well, how greedy she's being. I don't want some husk, you know, of a person.
Yeah.
I want to rescue the real you.
Yeah,
which is
that's a very, very hopeful dream here. And I really like this as a motivation for Ram, because one of the things that Ram has kind of flirted in between of here is someone that we are like, okay, we're pretty sure we can trust her.
Right.
Because of the way things are between her and Subaru. But like every time she calls him Barasu, you know she loves him and cares about him, and it's solid. The problem is that all the Rem stuff got erased.
And she is also very close to Roswaal.
Exactly. She's very close to Roswaal. So I was worried throughout this whole arc that there was going to be some things that would be slightly changed. However, the things that happened between her and Subaru during those moments in season 1 still happened.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the stuff that happened with Rem was separated from Ram, actually.
And that was one of those things, and I've said this before, that really surprised me when I went into ReZero and I watched it for the first time, because I knew about Rem. the top comments on videos that had nothing to
back
do
in
with
2016.
right, that had nothing to do with anime, and it's Rem is best girl. I'm like, okay, and then
it was infectious. It was everywhere.
And then I get into the show, and I'm like, oh, this Ram character is great. Rem, it must have just been a typo, maybe, or maybe I'm forgetting it wrong. I'm getting them mixed up, right? Because obviously Rem is the best. And then you get the Rem focus with Rem going to the sidelines, and it was like, oh, okay, this is really good. But there was always this part of me that was like, oh, I was really hoping we'd get a lot of focus with Ram and stuff, and we're getting it here, and it's amazing. It's awesome.
It's so good because her character is one that we were like very much just on board with. Okay, she's on our side. She's going to be helpful with us here, and for a good chunk of time, we weren't, believing Roswaal was an enemy. But we weren't believing he was necessarily an ally. It was just that he was a player in this whole thing.
It's
so he had his own
never trust
scheme.
an epic level wizard.
Yeah, exactly. But as things started to reveal that Roswaal is more and more of an antagonist, he is far more like wrapped up in this web of deceit and manipulation. Ram gets a little bit called into question here because she does everything he says, right?
Right.
Well,
sits on his lap and gets head pats.
Yeah, she is wanting to save him ultimately. And the reason for that is she's had to watch him continue with this obsessive thing of, it's in the book, so I'm going to do what's in the book, and I'm going to go do things this way.
Yep.
But no, I'm not going to let you then have your wish just see if that, leaves you with anything. But it's almost like, just final thing here. It almost is like it's already too late. He's already a husk because he's so devoted to it.
Right. She's not trying to save him so that he doesn't turn into a husk. She's more like wanting to resuscitate a husk.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And she needs him to, in some ways, be a little bit wrapped up in the delusions so that
she can
he's
break them.
Still beating. Like, he's still like a beating heart. If he gets everything of what he wants here, like, there's a possibility that, like, this whole thing will just end with him being like, well, I did good. I did good.
Roswaal is not stable. So as a result of that, they're complicated to deal with. It's a complicated situation to deal with them.
Because he's like Subaru in that way.
Yeah.
He's been through so much. Rather than it being iterations, he's been through hundreds of years of just, I will do everything towards this conclusion. Whatever that is, really. But if he actually, like, fully ends up, like, going through with this, is that a thing of where he ends up having some kind of a... Because there's a part with Ram where she's, like, begging Subaru, basically, to...
Subaru or Amelia?
Oh, it was Amelia, sorry. Yeah, there's a part... I'm trying to remember where it was, because there's a part where...
Assume the throne and things like that?
Hold on. Where's the part where she bumps into
Otto? And gives the three stipulations or whatever, or conditions?
It must have been Otto then.
The thing that really blew my mind this episode, other than just like the execution of everything that was happening, was the fact that apparently Roswaal was one of the, which this totally makes sense given the fact that, how close he is to Echidna and things like that and everything, but that Roswaal was a part of the witches cult that destroyed Ram and Rem's village.
Yep.
And he specifically, and I think it might have even been said that he was the one who took Ram's horn.
Yeah.
So that makes their whole relationship all sorts of more complicated and like, oh boy, because then Ram's like, her love for Roswaal is almost like a Stockholm syndrome type thing potentially, but then at the same time we know that when we saw them in the mansion in season 1 that he was good to Ram, right, even though apparently there's this crazy horrific past situation, whatever that happened. At some point, some sort of balance, equilibrium, or status quo was reached that was semi-functioning. And now Ram is fighting to get that back.
Right, and how much of this was potentially changed because Rem no longer existed in the
Possibly.
memories of them. No,
Like-
I'm asking you. Like,
Oh, I don't
do you
know.
remember the backstory stuff with them regarding like what Rem played a part in that whole just violent, moment where their village and everything was destroyed?
Rem wasn't able to do much when their village was attacked.
Right, because she didn't have magical abilities.
Right, she didn't have magical abilities.
Yep.
That was Ram, and then Ram hooked out with the horn and everything, and basically
fought off a bunch
of them by
ending
herself.
up beaten, and then her horn was
Right,
ripped
and her
off,
and her
yeah.
horn was broken.
And so Rem was saved from that because she didn't manifest her horn. Is that accurate? Why was I'm trying to remember why was
I
Rem,
think it was just that Rem was helpless because she was a child.
Gotcha.
You know, it was the thing of.
But then why was Rem taken in again? I'm just trying to remember.
Package deal with Ram, I think. You know,
Dang. So then that's really screwed up.
Because what I thought it was is that Roswell ended up actually saving them from the witch's cult. Is that you know, like which might actually be what happened. Maybe that's what it was.
Saved them.
Right, like he was a part of the witch's cult and they were doing this whole thing. But then
he
eventually
might have used the witch's cult then just to get some perfectly loyal followers. Then
that's possible.
That's what I kind of read it into his vibe there. He's like, oh, pretenses are down, illusions and all that are dropping. Well then, yeah, it sucks that I had to do that. You know. It's the whole It killed me to put that tumor in her head.
Right,
right. Moment where you're just like, wait, what did you do?
Right, but when he said it this episode, it wasn't like that was any new information for Ram. You know,
I
it's
agree,
like,
yeah.
right. It's like, okay, yeah,
you already knew that,
right? So that explains why he was there. Like, it wasn't just some timely, like, oh yeah, he happens to save them. It's no, he probably then just threw off the hood basically and was like, okay, you know, I think I want to keep this one. Oh, she's desperate to make sure that her sister comes along with her. Fine, I can take her sister too.
So it was what Ram said to Amelia, and this is the part that I wanted to get your thoughts on. So he has become possessed by delusions, which I believe that in a lot of ways this has to be tied to the book.
Right. Yeah.
So she says, well, these are delusions that bound his soul like a curse for a long, long time. There's also the influence of Echidna just beyond, you know, the graveyard, the place that Echidna is in, you know, what have you. It's still gripping him after all this time. And she says, I might not have minded that, even if he wouldn't have looked at me, even if he only thought of me as a tool. But, and this is the part that I find to be rather interesting here, she's like, I would have been okay with all this, but his delusions have already strayed from the path toward a clean conclusion. So, what this is showing here is that because of Subaru, because things are now deviated off course toward a clean conclusion.
Right. It was delusional, but it was a functioning delusion.
Exactly. Now
it's not.
Now it's not, because he's strayed from the path toward a clean conclusion.
But he's still sticking to the delusion.
He's clinging to it because it's like all he has.
Right.
His wish has lost its direction, and he clings to words written purely for aesthetics. So what is interesting here is basically that when things were going along the path of the Tome of Wisdom specifically, these words had function. They had meaning.
It almost feels it's the placebo effect, right? Where it brings the peace of mind and things like that, where it's like, okay, everything's fine. This is all good, right?
Right.
And it's
but
because
it's
of this thing that we have, right?
Yeah.
But exactly. It's nothing.
There's nothing to it.
Yeah.
And the idea that he is basically then attempting to rewrite an iteration towards the path of a different iteration.
Right. He's trying to world line hop.
He is trying to world line hop. Exactly.
And he doesn't have time travel.
And he doesn't have time magic. He can't do that.
Yeah, it's like...
It takes a massive crystal with all this soul energy or what have you just to change the weather.
Yeah.
That is something that I actually really feel like is kind of sad here.
Oh, sure.
Think about it this way, guys.
With all his power, he's still so
crazy
helpless.
Power, he is actually helpless as hell.
Right. Which it's the Full Metal Alchemist kind of thing of like, you know, we're not gods, right? We're just human beings. That's all we've ever been, you know, and accepting that is the path to peace and happiness, right?
But he will not accept that.
Right. And so Ram wants to smash his delusions.
Exactly.
Awesome.
So she comes in with the idea that you need to be holding on to the delusion when I destroy it. I can't have you basically
if you let go of it. Yeah.
I can't have you collapsing into nothing and then bring you back, because that's going to be that much harder.
It needs to be Yeah, it needs to be something where I actually get you to choose to let go of the delusion rather than the delusion being ripped away from you.
Right, because that will reveal your powerlessness.
Sure.
And if it's done by me, you know, not something that you're hyper focused and attached to, it's kind of like the idea of someone ripping off
like a Band-Aid?
Band-Aid, or it's like no, here's a great way to describe it. It's like Roswaal is on life support with a 400-year-old system.
Sure.
And if he has the system break while believing that it's his only support, his mind might not be able to handle the adjusting to the outside world's just regular oxygen breathing, and he'll be fine, right? But if Ram comes in and holds him gently and basically says, it'll be okay, and lets it off a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And he's like, see, you're still breathing.
And maybe has to force it to be removed.
To knock him unconscious in order to
hold him down while she
because he wouldn't like that. He wouldn't like that being taken away from him.
Right, exactly. He's so attached to it that he would fight tooth and nail.
So we're gonna fight.
Right.
We're gonna fight. And I think this is beautiful because it does feel like a dark iteration, if you will, of Subaru having basically like pushed for this specific way of doing things.
Right.
Based on his idealized version of how he thought Emilia to be. And yet, yeah, Subaru sees the best version of Emilia, but yeah, he also sees everything else about Emilia as well. Emilia kind of throwing his words in his face of like, are you done?
Yeah.
Is that
all you have to say?
Is that it?
Like that,
wow,
that was so satisfying.
Such evidence. Amazing contributions.
Truly the height of genius.
Yes. Yeah. You are so blind. So this is basically Roswaal's unraveling. Emilia tells him off. Basically says, yeah, I'll go and take the royal throne for sure. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm not even doing it for Subaru.
I'm certainly not doing it for Roswaal.
Yeah, if anything, I'll just do it because this one girl asked me to. I'll just do it for her.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I love the idea that Roswaal, being this being of just crazy power, we just brought Puck into the equation. It's just like, it's over. It's all over.
Yeah.
See, there was a chance, Roswaal, that you could hold on to this. There was a chance. Because it might have been just Ram making you watch, like, making you have to kill her.
Sure.
In order to do it.
Right.
And it would be like, you wouldn't be able to do that, right? Right? Maybe he would have.
He probably would. Like when Ram confronted him, it felt very much like a like confronting someone that like you are in or have been in an abusive relationship with.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the hey, here's the situation, right? And the idea that Ram is going into this wanting to save Roswaal is, well, at its best, greedy.
Yeah.
At its absolute best.
Yeah.
Right?
At its worst, it gets into some really creepy, like sad stuff.
Oh, yeah. It goes to absolute folly, right?
Yeah.
However, one, this saving involves more of a... And two, she's not alone.
Yeah.
She brought a friend, right? She brought that like super like type A assertive like personality best friend that won't put up with no shit, you know?
She brought her friend's dad.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
She brought Emilia's father.
Right.
Father Puck here, and I am going to beat your ass. So let's go.
Right.
I'm so excited because Puck just being a casual, spirit focused, caster is pretty strong, right? But we saw that he was struggling wait, no, hold on.
Oh, back in season 1, like with Elsa?
No. Yeah, actually, he wasn't casting at that point.
No,
that was Emilia. Never mind.
Yeah.
But we know what Puck is capable of. Puck cannot lose here.
Well, let's just say since both settings and conflicts and fights were established in this episode, if next episode we get the culmination of those, let's just say that Garf's transformation won't be the highlight.
That's true. You know what's also
yeah.
You know what's also kind of interesting here, though? Let's say Roswaal gets his resolve, like, deepened because of the Resistance. Like, the Resistance kind of gives him this new found life for it. One of the things I'm always terrified of Roswaal doing, and yet we kind of know he's not at this level in terms of a caster, is being in multiple places at once.
Oh.
And yet, I could very easily see him finding some way to cast the weather manipulation spell while he's fighting. Like, he's probably good enough.
Yeah.
He's probably good enough to where he can, at the very least, slow them down. And then it's just the question of, does it take 1 minute to cast this spell? Does it take 10 minutes? Does it take 5 seconds? Who knows?
As delusional as Roswaal is, he's still an epic level wizard, and they are clever.
They're very clever, exactly. And one of the things that I could see happening is that he forces a confrontation between Puck and the rabbit.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a way, Puck might be the perfect one to face the rabbit because, one, the rabbits aren't
His power would alter the weather for you anyway, Roswaal.
Right,
there
like,
you go.
the rabbits aren't going to be able to do shit to Puck in the first place.
I mean, well, Puck will have to transform.
Puck would have to transform, right? Yeah.
And then goodbye, Sanctuary.
Right, goodbye, Sanctuary, which might be another thing that would be
villagers.
helpful for Roswaal.
The villagers.
That's true.
Shit.
Okay, so all right, that's actually
This could actually get really bad. I'm thinking about this as the devil's advocate of, can Roswaal actually win here? And I'm actually starting to see a couple ways in which he can win.
Yeah, because if Puck can't fully unleash, then that does
cause some problems.
That does cause problems.
Yeah.
But I feel like with that taken into account, if Puck is not fighting at full capacity, you know?
Still there's Ram.
There's still Ram. And then I feel like it's a Zuko versus Azula type thing. The power might be skewed in one person's direction and one person's favor, but they are not stable. And as a result of that...
Yeah, that's why I'm worried, though. I think Roswaal might get more stable because of the battle, though.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
That it reinforces his ideas that I'm doing the right thing here.
Sure. Yeah, I don't know. I am very curious to see how it goes.
It's gonna be
like,
good.
it is going to be hype as hell.
But, oh my god. Please at least show us something and don't have it be completely off screen.
Yeah, dude.
Please.
Do not off screen.
You have 30-minute episodes. Please.
Yeah,
like
you can afford it. Yeah. Yeah. And then of course we also have the whole situation with Elsa and Garf and
I'm so excited to have just a wholesome brother-sister reunion here because Garf's character has like skyrocketed in value. Stonks, y'all. Like Garf is like he's up there. He's up there like climbing after Otto. He's not gonna catch him at any point.
Otto Petrash is carrying him too fast. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. but he's chasing after him.
But he's chasing after him. Like Subaru is like way up in the stratosphere as well. But the idea that Garf, this awkward little boy here, who's like full on like boss Subaru, like I'm in this here, like let's go, is getting like hyped about the idea of being relied on for his strength and being able to then flex and just throw it all out. You know, just let everyone know that I'm strong as hell.
Sounds like a 14-year-old boy's dream.
Yeah.
Like,
and I just I loved the way he interacted with Frederica.
Oh,
like,
that was great.
Like they were
whoa, you're big.
Like you're big. What the heck?
Like it's that whole thing of like when you grow up, right? Or as you get older, right? And then you meet someone that you haven't met in a while, especially like, you know, in your younger years where you're
like a
still
childhood
growing.
Friend.
Right,
haven't
exactly.
seen in a while.
And you know that you've grown a bunch, but you kind of, for some reason, assume...
You can't brain
you assume that they won't, just because in your memories they're small, right? And then you see them and you're like, oh, you also had a growth spurt, you know?
You also like got like adult facial features, you know? Like,
right.
Your childhood, like, you know, kind of
like there was
chubbiness is gone.
There was this kid I used to hang out with when I would visit my grandma, and you know, like when I was like 6 or 7, right? You know, like both very little, right? Yeah. And then I ended up going back to hang out with my grandma, and I was a teenager, right? I'd gone through my growth spurt and stuff, you know, and I'm a tall guy, right? It's not often that people are taller than me, right? I come back, and this kid's taller than me. He's like 6'6" or something. I'm like, I see. Like,
hello there.
yeah,
His forearms come out. General!
right. I see you are a man of growth spurts as well. Like, okay.
Jacob's casual 6'4" versus Giga Chad childhood friend 6'6".
Just like, I'm not sure why I'm surprised, but like...
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so with the conclusion being that we've got some big fights going down, we still have a lot of episodes to go through, though.
We do.
And given that these are also longer, episodes, we could get through quite a bit here. My main, like, kind of excitement surrounding this is that at some point they're probably going to show some of Emilia's trials. But they don't have to.
Sure.
So, on the chance that Emilia rinses the trials, like Echidna was saying, like you it's gonna be easy for you because you handled this one so well and you came out of it like far stronger than before. It's the kind of thing where Ram like sees Emilia and goes, "Whoa,
yeah,
I bow and I mean it here. Like I am impressed."
Yeah,
and you only lose a few points because of those tier marks, but
right, like, and if anything, that's just still a bit of Ram's pride, almost being like, "I'm not gonna say that I'm as impressed as I actually am because." You know, but
this
damn.
is me calling you Barasu. But you know,
yeah, yep.
97 out of 100. That's the thing. It's like, oh, you didn't get a SS plus rank. You got the SS rank. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, well done. So, in this here, Emilia, what happens if she finishes the trials, like, really quickly, right? Fights don't take much time in general, so it might still be a couple episodes before she finishes the trials.
Sure.
But when she comes out, what changes things here? Because
I am very curious.
What I'm really worried about is that the trials are ultimately something that serve Roswaal's design.
Okay.
Because they're in the Tome of Wisdom.
Gotcha.
And this is something that I feel like is just
but he didn't think that she'd even be able to do the first one.
Well, but see,
you know, like
I feel like I'm starting to get to that point where I'm being able to tell when Roswaal is bullshitting versus when Roswaal is being like very honest. And I feel like when he talks to Emilia, he's still trying to do the
manipulate kind of like
it's like a cradling.
It's negging.
It's condescending.
Yeah. It's like he's throwing these little barbs in there, while at the same time throwing in some positive reinforcement. It's right.
I'm not sure.
It's the bad partner behavior.
Well, yeah, but except that's
not their relationship.
That's not their relationship. Yeah. So I feel like it's more of those things of where I really wonder what's going to happen when the trials get completed. Because as far as what it meta means in general is that the arc will be over. Just in general.
Sure.
Likely.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that you get to get the villagers out.
Right.
That's the big thing, and then Emilia will be the hero,
and at that point,
saved all these people.
It will make sense for her to then be a serious,
really serious candidate for Lugunica. Yeah. But why set this all up in the first place? And I feel like we keep coming back to that, like.
It was because Roswaal wanted to pull them down to his level, right? To kind of break them and like show that you know, it's not realistic to be hopeful. It's not realistic to have ideals and things like that. You know, like you can't save both groups of people. You know, like what are you gonna do, right? Like that. Yeah, it was all part of his pet project experiment to try and not just get it to the point where Emilia could become a ruler, but make it so that she would be his type of ruler.
Yeah, but we
enforcing his own ideals onto her.
Right, but we have seen multiple instances where everything went to shit in the sanctuary, and Roswaal specifically said the end of the world is coming. Like, he's not talking about the sanctuary. So what might be happening here is that whatever is unleashed, be it, you know, Satella, that whole bit there, be it the rabbit of, you know, just carnivorous craziness. Totally forgot what the rabbit was called.
It's the
But
Monty Python, you know.
but if the sanctuary ceases to function, and one of these things is here,
Yeah.
is Roswaal just unleashing it on the world and then propping Emilia up as the everyone will rally behind her, and then
if
Emilia will be like the next witch or something like that, like
right? If well, okay, because we know that Emilia is already a witch, separate from Satala and things like that, right? Because it's been addressed as such, right?
Yeah.
But we also know that there's the whole idea of her potentially being the vessel and
right,
things.
because of her bloodline being connected back to Satala.
So, given the fact that the witches, their spirits or whatever, or however that works, reside here, right?
Exactly.
If she breaks through the barrier, I don't think it will be something... I think it's something that, under other circumstances, if Emilia wasn't prepared for it and everything, would be incredibly bad. But because she is, I feel like it could actually still be a good thing, but a dangerous kind of good thing. Okay. You know?
Yeah, that's basically the area where I'm like, I don't feel like we're getting another Subaru tea party anytime soon.
Right.
So, what play...
Because
what play basically does the
witches make? Yeah.
In the graveyard
because
basically do with here?
Because since they didn't skip past Emilia going through the other two trials, that makes me think that we are going to see them, even if it's a short period of time,
shorter,
right? Like
quicker.
She doesn't struggle with it as much, so she kind of, just goes through them, right?
But we maybe at least see the conclusion of the
right,
third
in
one.
a similar way to how with Subaru, the second and third trials were more montages and short bits than the amount of time that was spent on the first trial, right?
Yeah.
But I'm very curious.
Wait, Subaru went through 3 trials?
I think so. Because he at the very least went through the present one as well. He at the very least went through the present one. He might not have gone through the third one, but
sorry guys, I'm a bit out of it today. I think. Yeah.
It was the present one was the one where they showed like the times after he died in the previous iterations and stuff. Yeah, I think it was just 2.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious what would happen if/when Emilia met any of the other witches. Because if Emilia is meant to be like the next incarnation of Satala, basically, right? Then I feel like the ultimate victory for Emilia is to embrace that, but not let it consume her. Still be her. I am Emilia,
Yeah, and then she'll reek of the witch like Subaru, maybe.
Right.
But
she is not the witch, right? She is her own person. And that's the 100% victory, right?
I see. Yeah.
If that is what happens, I feel like we're close to that from a character level, but I don't know about from a plot, world, mechanics, and magic kind of level.
Yeah.
So,
okay, well then, that's just my big thing. It's like I'm just concerned about here is that it feels like Roswaal is still getting what he wants. It's just like he said, it's making him have to work a lot harder for it.
There was some extra fluff that decided to tag along that maybe wasn't is a miscalculation.
Yeah. But okay, I can't wait to see Garth throw down, and those gauntlet shields are
those look dope. And I can't wait to see Betty leave her room with a smile on her face. If that ever happens, oh my god, I might die.
Beatrice is also like one of those characters where over the course of season 2 she's just gotten even better, and she was already like one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, she was already fantastic. Yeah.
So it's now like
okay.
So much. So, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.